Mike Schmidt, we'll begin with you because it's your paper out front with this story, and it's a blockbuster. It deals with turf. I think a lot of Americans assumed the most exhaustive investigation of modern times would cover and uncover. Why didn't we learn this from Mueller?
Well, the Mueller investigation was focused on whether crimes were committed during the 2016 election. And as I lay out in my book, the Mueller team was basically looking almost singularly at that. They were not looking at the broader issues of the president's finances, of his longstanding ties to Russia, or, as we see in this story, his ties to other countries, the president taking more in income from these foreign countries, from deals that his companies have abroad, than from his own government. The Times reporting showing what we knew about the president, that he was, business-wise, he was presenting a fraudulent picture of who he was, but a president who is also in a very risky situation, as you're pointing out. He owes an enormous amount of money, and it looks like he could owe up to $80 million to his own IRS. And remember, he's the president. He controls the executive branch. He controls who runs the IRS. Now, do the taxes answer all the questions that we have about why the president behaves the way that he does? No. But these stories get us closer, and they've gotten us closer than certainly the Mueller investigation did, or the Senate investigations did, or anyone else.
Andrea, as no one needs to remind you, because we're living in an all-new territory for us Americans, a president who goes out of his way to defend dictators, select murderers around the globe. The American people, as has been pointed out, have an urgent right to know who he owes this kind of money to. Given all you've covered and written about, does this New York Times reporting have the ability to surprise even you in some of the details?
Well, I think what is surprising is the extent of his debt. We knew he had debt. We didn't know exactly the dollar amount that he had. $400 million coming due. We don't understand exactly to who, and that gives him a very direct financial incentive to try to be the president of the United States when he has to pay it back, because we've seen he's willing to manipulate all kinds of levers of power. And as Mike suggests, I mean, we see the way he's controlled his Justice Department and the way he's meddled in those decisions. Why wouldn't he do that with the IRS? I mean, there's no logical reason why he wouldn't. And then we've also seen all of this money coming in from foreign countries with an interest in Trump. He has a direct financial interest in keeping his presidency going, because the only way he's making money right now is from people who want something from him, and he's made it quite clear that he will favor those people. I think it's also worth adding that the Trump family empire was based on taxpayer support. It never would have gotten where it was had the taxpayers not helped guarantee Fred Trump's original loans and housing. That's what made the Trump family a millionaire, a multi-million-dollar business. And it is alarming to see the extent to which Trump has continued to pay almost nothing in taxes compared to average Americans when his family owes so much to the American taxpayer.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.